So, welcome guys to my YouTube channel, my podcast, wherever you're listening from. Super excited to have y'all here again. I have the most amazing Booker T. Riddick. Guys, I know that we're going to do a lot of laughing this podcast. But I'm going to try to be serious because Booker is actually one of my favorite people. He is my mentor. Just a few things about Booker, if I can.
Absolutely, you go right ahead.
Give a little bit of an introduction.
Just don't make me cry.
I probably will. And your birthday was last week. Happy birthday!
Thank you very much.
How old are you?
I'm 34.
Oh my god.
Just turned 34. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
You know what's so funny? Like, I thought that's how old you were when we met. And you just don't age.
I still seem this way.
That sounds terrible.
No, it doesn't. That's not it. It's...
No. That sounded so terrible.
No, it doesn't. That doesn't sound terrible.
What I meant was, I feel like you've been 30 since the time that we met.
Yeah.
And you just don't age.
Yeah. I received that. I'll stay 30 for the next 20 or 30 years. I'm down with that.
Yeah. That was a little bit awkward how I said it. But I do want to say, guys, so I met Booker 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a youth group pastor at that time. And I will say this, Booker was the first person that I saw that actively lived out the Bible. And you became like one of my biggest inspirations. Like he ended up discipling me and my brothers, baptizing all of us and my cousin, just being like a really strong spiritual leader in my life. And then was my pastoral support when I was in the Middle East. Came back and he's in real estate, and that's what the Lord is calling me into, and now he's my mentor in real estate. So I just wanna, you're amazing.
Well,
I'm super glad to have you here.
Thank you. It's really hard just not to, I'm trying to hold back not crying and not being overly emotional, because I do, I absolutely yeah, I do, I absolutely, I just love and adore you and your family, and just the way that you love the Lord, the way that you love other people, the way that you love me and my family, and just encourage us to continue to just pursue after it, to really get after it and, make a difference, make an impact, make money along the way, and hopefully change lives and build the kingdom with the things that we're doing, and just where we have our little fingertips and all kinds of different things. So no, I'm absolutely honored to just be here and be interviewed. And
well, I know we're going to talk about a million things. Real estate is one of them. The Lord is another thing.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about yourself. Or tell the audience, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I know you super well.
Yeah.
But
so super proud husband, and I almost said super proud husband and wife. Super proud husband and father. I'm super proud of my wife, but yeah, super proud husband and father and follower of Jesus. Me and my wife, we live in Williamsport, PA. We've lived there for about 5 years now, and just really been enjoying life, enjoying just, being a business person in the city, and not just being a business person, but being somebody that longs to just really inspire and connect and get people to believe beyond what it is that they see in front of their face. So that's just a little bit about us. Like, I've spent actually over 8 years in between full-time and part-time ministry, working with young people, and that never changes. That's in the fabric of just who we are and who we are as people. But right now, in the last, I guess it'd be almost exactly 2 years, almost to the day. I've had the opportunity to just be,
Congratulations.
Yeah. To just sell residential real estate, commercial real estate, and not just sell, but also just I want to be a resource. That's my longing and my desire. I want to be a resource, and I want to solve problems, whether it's for my city, whether it's for my family, whether it's for my church, whether it's for my friends. That is honestly my ultimate goal. Is I want to solve problems, and I also want to see the creativity of the kingdom of God experienced and expressed in real life. So,
that's so good. So, if we can, I know that you sold 36 homes your first year, which is like a record. I think I sold 14. Which is like a record.
I don't know if that is an actual record or not. I have no idea.
I mean, it's a lot of houses to sell in your first year. But I guess because you got into real estate and you went from like Pastor Booker to Realtor Booker.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh my gosh, what is Booker actually doing? So do you mind just sharing a little bit
I would love to share that
journey?
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I still love the question of like, well, where are you preaching now? And I'm like, really in a house near you. Like, I mean, that's so no. So we, to be honest, really, I feel like what really sparked my desire to grind and hustle is just to really be vulnerable and really be frank. I didn't believe that as an adult I had any other skill besides being a vocational pastor.
Wow.
Like, and looking back on it now, I really realized that, like, man, just the enemy and like the religious spirit had like really almost backed me into the corner of like, if you don't do this, you can't feed your family. And at the time, when we were making the decision as to what I was going to do next with just our future and our family and like my career, it was like, I just kept hearing that lie over and over and over again. And I'm like, that's not true. And my wife was pregnant at the time. And actually, like, this is a really cool story. I passed and was studying for my real estate exam while we were at the hospital.
Oh my God.
Yes. So I'm preparing for my exam, and my daughter was born 7 weeks early, and I'm literally like in the foyer of like UPMC, like studying for my real estate exam. And like I was working a part-time job, and I knew it wasn't enough to really, pay the bills and provide for my family. And I viewed it as, I love people. I have a passion for people. And I had the greatest motivation that I feel like any man or any man of God could, which was to provide for my family, and then also be an example of like, even in life, even when things don't go the way that we think they're going to go, that we serve a God of redemption and restoration. And so that's really what drove me in my first year.
Wow. And
I feel like a lot of my success is just because I had a tremendous amount of faith and belief. And also I had I had the right amount of hustle and the right amount of ignorance. Which means people tell you which ignorance and faith are, I feel like sometimes are two sides of the same coin, which is the world says like, hey, these are the things that you can do, and you just don't know enough to believe them. So you believe what God says about you. And then also, like, the hustle is just, I'm not just going to be someone who says I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. I'm actually going to show up, and I'm going to put pen to paper, and I'm going to deliver, and I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to grind, and I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm not going to always handle things perfectly, and I'm still going to wake up and not be afraid to pick up the phone and get rejected. And, and I remember, a big thing that we talked about, which I guess transitions, is like really talking to people who are selling their house private sale.
Yeah, the FISBOs. Going after FISBO buyers.
Yeah, which you know it all too well. It's like if you want to be successful, like if you want to just get rejected, become a real estate agent and call people who are selling their house by themselves to save money and tell them that you want to work with them, and you get rejected a lot. Yeah. But that was kind of how both of us, I feel like that's how we got our start, was just the thing that most people don't want to do, which is just get on the phone and get rejected and keep coming back for more. You know what I mean?
And I think, like, too, adding to that, if you want uncommon results, you need to do uncommon things.
That's right.
Like, you said, like, you're doing this stuff that nobody else wants to do, which is pick up the phone and call somebody and be like, hey, I want to list your house for you. And they're like, no. And I think one of the best things, like one of your biggest things that you've said to me that has stuck with me forever is like, you're looking for a listing, yes, but you're not looking to come in there and be like, I want to sell your house. You're looking to come in and serve that person.
That's right.
Even if they don't use you as a realtor, you're looking to serve them even in their own process. And so I think that's been the biggest thing that has stuck out to me, or like one of your biggest pieces of advice when I was starting was just serve people, love people.
Yes.
And it's paid off, because either way,
even when you don't like them.
Yeah. Right?
Even when you don't like them, still love them and serve them. Yeah, that's right.
I know, but the funny thing is, like, or the cool thing is, like, that always comes back.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Like, no matter what, it might
That's
not
right.
be through those people. It's going to come back some way. And so...
Because there's a principle of reaping and sowing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That's a kingdom reality that, like, Harvard Business understands. Like,
so cool.
like if you went to business school at Harvard, they understand it's like, hey, what you put in is essentially what you get out. And even what people will call in business, they'll call it farming. Yeah. And the reason why they call it farming is because you're sowing seeds, you're nurturing them, and then that's a kingdom principle.
Yeah.
Like that's where I think that's where the kingdom and business, you know, like that's where they can really bridge, and that's where they can connect. Because it's this, what I sow into this, what I put into this is what I'll get out of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you treat people well, if you serve them well, if you try to have your client's best interest, people will want to work with you, and that's incredibly attractive. It's incredibly attractive.
No, that's so good.
Yeah.
I guess then transitioning. Well, we're not really transitioning, but I have more questions I want to ask. If you can share, if I can talk about this, we can edit this out if not. But I know
talk
that
about
you were
anything.
working as a janitor, and then
was I working as a janitor?
Were you?
I don't think I ever worked as a janitor.
What were you doing?
When
you started real estate?
Oh, I was working. I was working at school. I was like, did I work as a janitor? Like, what were you doing? I would have worked as a janitor. Shout out to all my janitor friends out there. You guys are awesome. I was working as an aide in a school.
Oh, okay, as an aide.
As an aide in a school, yeah.
But which numbers are really cool to me. Do you mind sharing?
Yes.
Like what you were making then, and then how?
Oh, I don't mind sharing.
How real estate totally helped you guys and where you are now.
I will share that.
If that's okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't share it with most people, but I'll share it with Sarah, and I'll share it with her friends. So,
thank you, Booker.
So we were making, well, I shouldn't say we, I was making $14 an hour at working for Williamsport School District. And that worked out to about, and I was only working part-time, and I think I was bringing home, I could be wrong, but I think I was bringing home maybe $1,600 a month. Wow. Which, like, to put it in perspective, like my mortgage was about $1,000 a month. Wow. You know, and then also we had other bills, so that wasn't even enough. And then my wife is literally postpartum at that time. Yeah. So our baby is just born. So I was making about $1,600 a month, and then to put it in perspective, and I don't typically like share this, but I will share it. So yeah, last year, just in selling residential real estate, I made like over $120,000.
Come on, Booker. Come on. The reason I asked you to share that is because, like, I want the audience on this to be inspired. Yeah. Like, I want someone to look at this and be like, okay, he was bringing him $1,600 a month. Now he's $100 and however much you make. Yeah. Like, I can do that too. Yep. Yeah, so I think it averaged out to about like 10 grand a month, but it's one of those things where, one, I think there's only been one other person I've ever told that. Thank you. And it was actually, and the reason why, I'll tell you why I decided to share it then and why I'm sharing it now. The reason why I shared it was a high school student who was struggling to get through high school, and then actually a local principal had them, they wanted to become a real estate agent. They were having a hard life, and they struggled with school, but they were showing motivation. They wanted to graduate. So he had me come in and speak with her. I think she was a junior, and he was like, "Can you just tell her, you know, what is your daily life like? What do you make?" And the reason why I shared how much I made with them and why I'm sharing it with you is because at that point it was an inspiration. Yes. And it wasn't. It's really. Yes. It's not bragging because I don't. And honestly, like, I wake up every day and I look up. I'm not looking down, because I feel like, you know, humility is really it's really such an important key to success and remaining humble. Yes. And then also wanting and longing, desiring to be better. You know, and yesterday's success determines absolutely nothing for today. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, as a real estate agent, you could make $200,000 one year and you cannot sell a house the next year at all. So that's not what stirs the drink for me. What stirs the drink for me is looking
in the beautiful eyes of my daughter and my wife that I know that are dependent on me to not just bring home the bacon, but to be someone. It's not about just me making enough money. It's also me being the kind of person that my daughter could look up to and aspire to be one day. That's my desire. That's my goal. So
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I love that so much, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, that was super real there. But
yeah, that was it. That was a very personal question.
But I think like something that I'm really inspired, like that you've coached me in and mentored me in, but I've also been super inspired by it, is like you grinded and you worked your butt off to make it. Yeah. To really do, and I know like you had your wife, your daughter.
Well, I have my wife and my daughter, and then I also have glaring strengths, and I have horrendous weaknesses, like crazy blind sides, and really surrounding myself with the right people and the right team at our brokerage where we work. Is really like we do, like, and I mean, even if we didn't, I'd still say the same thing, that I work with some of literally the best people in the world, and I screw up not weekly, like I would say probably multiple times a day, in the amount of grace and encouragement, and then there's still an expectation for excellence. That standard is not dropped, but we will love you through you figuring out, hey, you got to get this done. So big shout out to them. Huge shout out to them. But
that's so good. It just goes to show, like, if you put yourself around the right people and you grind and hustle, it's gonna come back.
Absolutely.
So, thank you for sharing that. Tell me about your flip.
So guys, I'm a little bit heavier, but I've tried to do a couple of flips. Not very successful. No, I'm just kidding. What is a flip? Like, I mean, what, like, you're talking about the house that we bought.
The house that you're flipping, which you're in the middle of. If you can talk about that. Yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit. Yeah, I won't get into too many details, but so I will tell you this. So we had the opportunity to buy a property, to buy an investment property. Mm-hmm. And the reason why we had that opportunity was because I was just making my calls, right? So you're making your calls. Hey, people are selling their house, private sale. Hey, I'd love an opportunity to work with you. My name's Booker. I'd love to connect with you. You know, and just being courageous and really making that phone call and making that house. Well, I called this lady. I felt like her house was too low. Yeah. I felt like it wasn't listed for enough money, and I called her and I was like, hey, ma'am, I said, I'm looking at the pictures of your house online. I said, if it's the same house that you're selling, I think you're a little bit low in price. And she says, well, I just want a cash deal, and I just want a quick close, and I just don't want to be a homeowner anymore. And I'm like, well, I'd love to list your house, and we could list it for more money. And she says she wasn't interested in that. Wow. She just wanted to sell her house. And it was weird. It just like all of a sudden, like I was like, I'll buy your house. Just like that. You're so much of a salesman. It's just like, I'm not gonna let this deal fall through. I'm just gonna buy your house. Yeah, right. Like, so I tell her, I said, listen, you know, I'll buy your house. I was like, I'll buy your house. I'll give you what you're asking, and we did, and it was a really, we made it work. It was a smooth transaction. You know, we just to give you guys a little info too. It's like we didn't have that amount of cash laying around. Like what we use and what we utilize is we used what's called a HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit. On the property that we own. So we took out a home equity line of credit, and we had enough equity in the home that we own because we've taken great care of it and the market has appreciated, that we bought this house with just our equity. And we also we completed, I would say, more than 60% of the remodel or rehab with also with our equity. So we were able to really use and utilize our equity, and then also just work with some couple of really great contractors. Big shout out to my Uncle Joe and Paul Barrett. And Paul Barrett. Paul Barrett is he's a great friend of mine, an awesome man of God, and he's just been a tremendous help. And also he walked with me through the house and was the one that was nudging me. Yeah. Nice. And to be honest with you, we need people in our lives that are going to nudge us into things that are scary. And that was probably the scariest thing that I've ever done. And then also my wife, Megan, just saying yes and trusting me that, like, okay, we can do this. But That's so hard.
So, and we did. We're under contract. We haven't sold it yet, so I won't talk any details about that. But yep.
But it's so far. It's
also a big shout out to there was an incredible photographer and videographer that we worked with that did just tremendous work. He's actually the guy that's behind the camera right now, ironically enough.
He's so great.
Took fantastic pictures and fantastic videos. And you want to talk about another piece and another key to my success. It's working with this guy who's tremendous.
For sure.
Yeah. No. I don't know if he wanted us to put his name out there, but
well, I'm putting it out there.
Tate Noggle, Nathaniel Noggle, for the
not the government.
not the government name, not my government. He says, put my name out there in the streets, like.
Yeah. No, that's so true. No, Tate is amazing. If you're a photographer, like I feel like you've used him for all your listings and stuff, and I've done the same. So. Yep. Anyways, let's jump back into cold calling people.
Sure.
I want to hear a little bit who taught me to cold call.
Yeah.
Who taught you, and how was it your first few cold calls?
Mainly Bob Boob and YouTube would be the two people that taught me.
Who's Bob Boob?
Bob Boob, or Bobby Booby as people affectionately call him, is our wonderful fearless leader.
That's so true.
He's our broker. He's the guy that we call to answer all the questions that we don't have answers for, because we really don't know what we're doing on most days. And he is just a phenomenal, humble, awesome man of God that's just given us both tremendous opportunities to succeed. And big shout out to him. He is awesome. But he really was the one that instilled in me, like, one, this is what I love, and this is why I work for him and why I love working for him. Whether somebody is selling a $50,000 property, $500,000 property, or a $5 million property, we treat them with respect and dignity and all the same, and we work hard for all of our clients. No matter, it's like we don't, which is, I really feel like that's the fabric of our brokerage, but it's also, it's a testament to the owners of our company wanting and desiring to be the salt of the earth, man, to treat people with honor and dignity. And then also having that attitude, he really told me, he says, show up. He says, serve people, give them what they need, help them, treat them, and talk to them as if you're already their client, and then you'll win their trust. Yeah. And really, that's what I did. And then also, to be honest with you, like watching a ton of YouTube videos, and watching people do it live. Actually cold calling people live and then trying different things, and then there's some things that some people do that really work, that match my personality, and then there's other things that other people do that have a completely different personality or in different markets really did not work. You know what I mean? Like there were some things
you tried a few different styles.
I did
before kind of finding your own niche.
Yes.
Style.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And I believe so. The method behind what it is that we do and like the approach is called the Socratic method, which is essentially like what it means is I'm coming to you with the understanding that you don't have to work with me, you don't have to talk to me, but I'm going to demonstrate my value to you no matter what. So a lot of times it'll be ring ring ring. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. I am ABC local real estate agent. I see you're selling property X for X amount, and they say yes, and asking them, if I brought you a qualified buyer, would you be open to working with an agent? And they say yes, and they say, well, hey, listen, you're probably going to sell this house yourself. There's a really good chance that you're going to sell this house yourself. But 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks down the road, 4 months down the road, 3 months down the road, 6 months, if you don't sell this property, do you have a backup plan?
No.
And then you sit there quietly and then you start to ask them questions about why they're selling, what's causing you to sell. It's a beautiful home, it's a beautiful property. And then you say like, hey, I'd love an opportunity to meet you in person, set up a preview, really present you with what I call a for sale by owner backup plan. If it makes sense and we could possibly work together in the future, great. If not, I'd love for us to leave as friends. And you just leave it at that. You leave it at that.
Which is really good. And I think coming from that perspective, like that attitude, like it what I've found, because you've taught me all that.
Sure. Yeah.
And what I've found,
and you're tremendous at it. She's phenomenal at it.
Thank you.
Yeah, better than I am at it. She's fantastic.
I think so, though.
I think you are, but
Well,
we'll agree to disagree.
Well, thank you. But no, what's happened most of the time is that you end up leaving as friends, but 9 times out of 10 they'll list with you.
Yep. I've had people that ended up selling their house, but then will recommend me to somebody else because they were like, this young man, he was not pushy, he was genuine, he was kind. And the difference maker, Sarah, the real difference maker is you don't have to present yourself as genuine if you actually care.
Yeah.
You don't have to try to sound genuine. When I call somebody and I say that, I'm not, excuse my French, I'm not full of shit because I'm being genuine. That's really who I am.
Yeah.
And I really do care about them, and I really do care about what happens next to their property, and I really do genuinely care, and that's really what drives me to want to work hard every day. So I don't have to pretend to be genuine.
Yeah. No, I love that, and that's why they want to list with you. Like I was, this is kind of a funny story, but I'm in the middle of trying to get this listing, and I'm pretty close to it, but called the guy up, and we end up talking for a little bit. I find out he's a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
He doesn't push. Yeah. But anyways, he ends up asking where my accent's from, and I'm like, I grew up Amish. We end up being on the phone for almost 20 minutes.
Wow.
And now he's calling me up different days and being like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And so, and it's one of those things, like, no matter what, you gain a friend out of it. And no matter what, like, those people are going to walk away and they're going to talk about you behind your back.
That's right.
And they're going to be like, you know what? I had an incredible experience. Even if he doesn't list with me.
Right.
Because it's in between me and another agent at the
and because every single connection and every single contact is an opportunity to sow a seed. And not every time that you have a contact with somebody, so you may just be sowing a seed. And most people view it, and the reason why a lot of people won't do it is because they're looking to really call on the phone, do very minimal amount of work, and then to reap an immediate harvest. And there's a lot of people that will cold call, but there's very few people who will follow up.
That's the other thing.
There's money in the follow up. Yes.
Like, always follow up.
Just follow up. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, so easy.
It is.
I've forgotten to do it.
It costs you no money.
Yeah.
It's free.
And here's the thing, like, to anybody watching as well, like, watching or listening, like, here's the thing. I've had it before where I've had a cold call go really, 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 really well, and they're like, we are definitely going to list with you. We're definitely going to do that. And then I'll be like, okay, I want to follow up in a week from now. Is that okay? Their answer is usually yes.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, sometimes I've forgotten to call them back.
Yep.
And 2 weeks later, the house is on the market with a different realtor.
Yes.
Now, if I had done the follow-up, would I have that listing?
Possibly. Yes. Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would.
So that's a really big thing, too, that people don't follow up. And that's one of the most important things.
If you could be the first person, if you could be the last person, and you could also be the most often in between, you'll be at the front of their mind. I think that's really the key to a lot of businesses. You want to stay, you want to stay front of mind, but then you also just want to serve your community and be present. And that's one thing we've had an opportunity. I love serving people and individuals, but we've had a tremendous opportunity it's like, I want my name to mean something in my city. Like, and when I say I want my name to mean something, I don't mean I want to be significant or in the sense of like, oh, people know me. It's like, no, I want it to mean something positive.
Yeah.
I want it to mean something positive. And I want, like when Grace is when she's school aged, or when she's in middle school and people ask who's your mom and dad, like that. Both me and Megan, we want to be people that my daughter is proud to say who her father is and who her mother is. That's the goal. And that's what keeps you away from a lot of really shady, skimpy, weird stuff, No,
it is, for sure.
You know what I mean? Just because there is weird stuff out there. Just be honest with you guys. Like, there's, especially in business, man, money makes people.
Yeah, it does.
It really, it's like the Bible says. It's like people think that the Bible says that money is the root of all evil. It doesn't say that. God never said that. It says
it's a good thing. Money
is a good thing. It says the love of money
is the root of all evil.
Is the root of all evil, because if it has your heart, then it really has your attention, your affection, and then ultimately it will have your actions. So if you want to have right actions, it's like what has your heart, and then what has your affections, and really that's how you walk with integrity. You know what I mean? Not that I do it perfectly every day, because I screw up royally on a daily. So, but yeah.
That's good. I was gonna ask you more questions.
I'm sorry.
On some of them. No, you're
just
fine.
Talking.
You're fine. I guess, like, where do you see yourself headed with real estate and even
gosh.
in the middle of kind of investing and thinking about investing?
I don't know. I don't really know. I know. Most people, especially like in business, it's like, oh, hey, have a plan, and I think that's good. I do think it's great to have a plan. And I have a plan. I have a calendar. I have, a daily and a weekly and a monthly way that I attack things.
Yeah.
But really beyond that, in the long term, I don't know.
Yeah.
And the only thing, and this is the only thing that I really see in beyond 5 years is I want to see, I want to see our city, like the city of Williamsport, I want to see it lifted up. I want to see it encouraged. I want to see it exalting Jesus. I want to see, I'd love to see cleaner parks. I'd love to see lower drug use. I'd love to see all those things. And then I have this longing in my heart and this desire. This is where you get 8 years of being a youth pastor and then 2 years of being a real estate agent, is I have this longing desire to see a multitude of young people and young adults really encounter the presence of Jesus and then walk in to wherever market they're in, whether it's business, finance, the arts, whether it's, culinary arts, interior design, all these different spheres. Is like, I just want to see, I'd love to see an army march into the marketplace with the love of Jesus.
Wow.
Just on their shoulder. That's my long-term plan.
Wow.
That'd be my long-term plan.
I love that.
Yeah. I view investing in real estate almost as two things: as a launching pad into those things to fuel financial freedom, and then also I believe it's an opportunity then to actually restore that which has been broken, or that which has been forgotten, or that which has been to bring things back to the beauty for our city. But those are the two things that I see in it. But that's not the big thing. That's what I just told you is the big thing. So yeah.
I know that you have a few testimonies that you could share from even being in business and you live lifestyle Christianity. Yeah. And that's something that you model so well. So
some days some days I'm a turd. So hold me accountable, encourage me, pray for me. Some days I'm doing great and some days I'm not. Everybody that knows me knows that. But yeah.
No, you're the reason that I'm here today. That's not an understatement. That's very true. So just share, I'd love to hear like one or two testimonies of how you've been able to do business, kingdom business, and share the Lord in business.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's like so different.
Yeah.
Like, being a pastor, like it's like everything is very explicit. And when I say explicit, I don't mean explicit. I think we think explicit. We think of it in a perverse way. Like when I say explicit, I mean just it's so black and white and clear that it's just like, okay, this is so obvious what you're telling me. Whereas I think a lot of times in business, being an independent contractor, it's like I could really say whatever I want. But then also too, just wanting to love and honor people, and not ostracize them. I want to work with all different kinds of people. A lot of what I do and what I say is very implicit, but there's doors that open. So a lot of times what I've been saying to people a lot, especially in the midst of a real estate transaction, is I'll just ask them right out. I'll say, hey, I don't know about you, but I'm a God-fearing man. Yes. And I really believe in the power of prayer, and I really think that we should pray about this. And I have probably said that to almost every single client that I've had, and no one has ever been offended. We'll pray for this situation. And I actually had a story. This was last year. I was dealing with this young couple, and I was talking to them, and they're trying to figure it out. Weren't engaged, wanted to be engaged, weren't engaged yet, but just trying to figure it out. They're looking for a house together, and I actually asked them. I said, hey. I said, do you mind if I do you mind if I talk to God on your behalf and hear what he has to say for you? Because they were just trying to figure out, hey, we're not having any luck in this housing market. And this is what they said to me, Sarah. They said, well, if that's a part of the services that you provide, then I'm not going to turn it down. So what? So, and I said, and I said,
to God on their behalf.
And I said, yes, it is actually. It's amazing because when you say stuff with a straight face, people take you serious, and they should. And I said, yeah, that is a part of the services that I provide. So what ended up happening is I prayed for them, and I'm not gonna share the word. No, I actually prayed for them later, like by myself, and then God gave me a prophetic word for them. And then I came back to them with that prophetic word. I'm not going to share the word because it was actually really personal, but it was really well received. It was just about some things in their life, and just the Holy Spirit really just read their mail, and it was beautiful. It was incredible, and it was incredible to see just the prophetic ministry and like the marketplace, just kind of like two things that you think should be on opposite sides of the spectrum, actually like coming together. But the number one thing is I don't force anything. Yeah. It's like as the Lord lays on my heart, I'll say things. And the number one thing I do is when I'm driving into the office for the day, I'm praying. So like, good. And I'm not praying like just, hey, God, use me in this way, do this with me. I'm just saying, Lord, just please, if you would prepare my heart.
That's good. To
be a man that would walk with love and compassion and a heart and to do the right things. And a lot of times the thing that God tells me to do is just like, he's like, hey, you forgot to call this person back. Like, pick up the phone and call them back. Or, awesome. Hey, you didn't take care of this, take care of that. But then, like, what happens so naturally is when you include, Jesus blesses the real estate that he owns. And when you include him and you say, this is yours, this day is yours, this life is yours, you can have it, you can do what you want with it, then you actually, it's not very hard then to invite Jesus into those moments like that. Because it's just natural for you. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
I love that. Yeah. Oh, I love that so much, Booker. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
I'm incredibly inspired again, like all over again. I'm just like,
Me too.
Like it's so good.
Yay, God. Like,
Yay, God. I know, right?
Yeah.
But no, I'm just inspired because it's like, that's what it's all about, is Jesus in the marketplace. And even like, he's the one that brought you into real estate. He's the one that brought me into real estate. And
so I hope that answers the question. Hey, where are you preaching?
Where are you preaching?
You're a preacher. Why ain't you preaching, preacher? That's your answer.
But no, I love even just your heart to see, kingdom and business collide and actually be what, the Lord intended it to be. So
absolutely.
It's beautiful. What advice would you have for somebody, not even that's just starting out in real estate, but let's say somebody has an impossible dream to get somewhere in life.
Yeah.
What's your advice?
First and foremost, write it down. Like, write it down.
Do that?
Like, be courageous. Like, write it down. And then the way to hold yourself accountable to a dream, Sarah, is to tell other people you're going to do it. And I'm going to tell you right now, I want to share this, and I'm going to share their names if this is okay. Yeah. So 2 people who have had an incredible impact on my life are Steve and Kelly Benner. And they're the people who they want the least amount of attention. And I'm going to shout their name from the rooftops because they're the most loving and honoring and wonderful people. And when I was sitting on my couch and we had just gone through a really hard and rough season, and they're just meeting with me and Megan, and I told them, he said, he said, so what are you going to do for work, man? And I said, I think I want to be a real estate agent.
Wow.
And they didn't even look at each other, and he looked at me and he said, well, I want to sew into that. And they took care of, and they paid for all of my classwork and all my testing.
Oh my gosh.
And at that point when they did that, so there was a couple of times when I was getting my license that I wanted to quit, but because I had shared my dream with someone that I honored and respected, and they believed in me, it gave me enough inspiration to believe in myself.
Wow. And
say that if they think that I can do it and they believe enough in me that they're willing to sow into my life, then this might be the Lord. This is, and so I just want to. So I will tell you, if you have a dream, if you do have a dream, if God has given a dream on your heart, tell people about it.
That's so
tell
good.
People about it. And don't just tell your friends, tell people, I hope that you have elders in your life.
Yes.
Like I have people in my life. One, I do believe, like that there's elders that are a part of the local church, which is God's, we're talking a lot about the marketplace, but the church is God's primary mission to reach the world. It is the church. Shout out to the church. I love the church. I loved every church I've worked for. I loved being a pastor. I love being in youth ministry. I loved all those things. But also I hope that you have people that are spiritual moms and dads in your life that you can go to, not just your friends, not just your buddies, not just your peers, but people who you look up to and honor. If you would open your mouth and tell them the dreams that you have on your heart, they will hold you in the most loving and tender and wonderful way. It's incredible. It will change your life. And not only will it change your life, there will be an incredible healing when it comes to, I feel like there's a lot of people that have, and I feel like I'm supposed to share this, but
yeah, go for it.
I feel like there's a lot of people who have kind of like mother and father wounds. Yeah. Just because of not even, maybe they didn't even have a bad experience with their natural mother or father, but just they have this distortion of just the definition of what a father and a mother is, and really I feel like the way to experience true healing through that is be vulnerable with people. They might hurt you. It's very possible you probably will get hurt and you'll have to forgive them, and that's okay. But be vulnerable with people who you look up to and honor and that are walking and living like Jesus. That is what to me makes the difference. And then when you have a dream and you tell people and you write it down, it's one thing to say it with your mouth. It's another thing to believe it with your heart. It's a total other thing to allow your faith to become action and let your rear end follow what you're saying.
That's so good.
Don't be a double-minded person. Don't be a double-minded Christian. That does more destruction for the kingdom of God than it does lifting up. It's just be who you say that you are. No, so not that I do it perfectly, because I don't, but anyways.
But I really love what you touched on. Because I was going to end it, but
sorry.
I really love... No, it's okay. Booker, it's really good. Like, I really love what you touched on, like the power of somebody believing in you. Like, is so important, because I had that same experience of, I don't think that I can be a real estate agent, but you said, yes, you can. There was I had a similar experience where somebody, I was in missions for 2 years and came home on the word of the Lord and didn't want to come back, and was praying about what to do, and somebody literally reaches out to me, and shout out to Dorothea Schultes, but one of my mentors, my moms of the faith, but like she reached out to me and she's like, if you're thinking about becoming a realtor, I want to pay for all of your expenses. And so it's so wild to think, but it was like her believing in me, you believing in me. I know there were a few other people, but it really was the pusher of like, okay, I can actually do this. And so thank you.
Absolutely.
Because you were a big part of that, and
thank you.
You're a really big part of where I am today.
Well, iron sharpens iron, so likewise, true. Man, I appreciate the encouragement.
But I love what you said, get people, be around people, but I just want to say also, like, if you don't have people mentoring you, if you don't have people that you can look up to, man, find somebody that you admire, find somebody that is is where you want to be, and serve them. Because that is going to get where you want to be. What's in between where you want to be and where you are now is humility and servanthood.
That's
like, good. Just get yourself around somebody and serve them, because I would say that's going to get you more places than anywhere else.
Well said. Couldn't say anything better.
Anyways, anything else you want to share?
I think I share my whole heart, man. I don't think I have anything else to say. You guys have made me laugh, cry, everything. Like, yeah. All
right. Well, thanks, Booker.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you being on here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to see what the Lord continues to do in your life.
Yeah.
So,
amen.
Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for more content and for what's happening in the future.
Yep.
Very special guest, Booker Riddick.
Love you guys. You're awesome.